Welcome to the continuation of the Elevate Rapid City online trainings and webinars. Appreciate you joining me today for the Maximize Your Local Search Performance using this free tool. This is an in-depth look at how the Google My Business listing and the tools within that listing can help you perform better on local search and engage with customers when they're searching for businesses like you. This is the most recent in the series of trainings that Elevate Rapid City is doing. You can see all their trainings on their Elevate Rapid City Facebook page, and for any of the past ones, you can find them on the Elevate Rapid City YouTube channel to share and watch again if you want to. But I appreciate you tuning in. So who am I? My name is Jason Silver. I am the project manager with Dot Marketing. I have nearly 20 years in the advertising and marketing industry in Rapid City. Born and raised in Rapid City, so I've spent my entire life, except for a couple years in college, living here and doing business here. So I know the market fairly well. Today we'll be covering why have a Google My Business listing, claim, create, and verify listings, how to go through that process, setting up users with proper access, how to optimize basic business information, adding products and services to your listing, encouraging people to leave reviews, monitoring those reviews and responding, setting up messaging or what's called Google Assistant, how to use Google My Business posts, changes that are currently happening right now on the Google My Business listings due to COVID-19, check and how to update your listings and what kind of schedule to follow for that. And then we'll do some questions at the end. I do have the question and answer and the chat panels open, so feel free as we're going through this to go ahead and fire off any questions or comments that you have. I'll do my best to keep an eye on those and answer them as they come up. But hopefully I do a good enough job that I cover all questions that you have. So why have a Google My Business listing? I know many clients, when they walk in our door, have no idea what we're looking at. We get the deer in the headlight look, and then they don't really understand the importance of having that listing. This is the most important online listing that your business can have. This is nearly as important as having a website. I still think a website, because of the content you can put out there, is more valuable, but they are very close to the same importance. Why is this so important? When people are doing discovery searches, so if you see the visuals over on the left-hand side over here where I searched for pizza, I don't know why, it must be lunchtime, you can see that it's coming up. These are Google My Business listings that are coming up as results on my searches. One was done on mobile, so it's pulling what's closest to me, and the other was done on a desktop. So it's trying to guess where my location is best it can. Google's main goal is to deliver relevant results that are close. Most people aren't going to drive 15 miles to get a pizza, but that pizza place that's 4 miles away has a good chance of getting my business. These listings appear in search on desktops, mobile devices. That's when you're searching in the Google browser, in the Google Maps app. This is embedded even in many newer cars now. So when people are driving around, they're going to be using Google Maps. Voice search on Google Home Assistant, if you have a Google Dot or any of those things. If you ask that device, what's the nearest pizza place, it's going to come up based on where your device is, what the closest pizza places are to you. And then the new smart devices that we're starting to see hit the market, things like smart refrigerators and stuff, they will do these same kind of searches as well. So your Google My Business listing is going to appear a lot of places when people are searching either for you specifically, that's where we see a brand search. So if they're searching for your brand or if they're doing discovery searches. And this is the first thing that they're going to engage with before they probably even get to your website or call you to do business with you. So this is your first impression. Claim, create, verify your listing. So there's a chance that there is not a listing out there for your business. but most businesses do have a listing that's out there, even if they don't own it. We've probably all done business with enough different types of advertising agencies or companies that at some point they created a listing out there and you may just not own that listing. So the first thing to do is to do a search for your business listing. So go out to Google, search for your business, see if a Google My Business listing comes up. If it does, hopefully you have ownership of that. If not, there is a button on there that you can simply click and it says own this business, and you can go through the steps with Google to hopefully get primary ownership of your own listing so that you can take advantage of all the tools to help market and better your position online. If you don't have a business listing out there at all and you're starting from new, the best thing to do is to sign up at business.google.com, and you can see that web address listed down below in the text. Once you've gone through the steps to click own or create a listing, the next thing you're going to have to do is to verify your listing. There's a few other ways besides the two I have listed here, but these are the main two ways that you're going to get to verify your listing. The most common is to have a postcard sent to the business street address. It's not going to go to a PO box or anything like that, so it needs to have a physical address so that they can actually verify the location. This is going to prevent businesses from saying they have fake locations in different areas. So you can't say you have a business in Denver and you have a business in Houston and stuff like that and just be sending the different PO boxes that you're temporarily renting. The other way is via phone call. This may or may not always be an option for you, but you don't get to choose the phone number that Google calls to verify you at. You can't give them your cell phone or the business number that you want them calling. They're going to choose from verified third-party sources that they trust what they believe your business phone number is, and that's the number they're going to call you at, and you'll be aware of what number they're calling at. But if that's not correct, then you're going to have to resort back to having the postcard mailed to your business. It's not as fun, it doesn't have the instant gratification, but it does work. It takes about up to 5 business days roughly for that for that postcard to show up at your door. It has a simple verification code. You just log back in, enter that code, and then you're continuing on with business. One thing that a lot of people seem to struggle with is setting up users. Once you're logged in, you'll see a menu like this over on the left-hand side. All you'll simply do is click on users, and this is where you'll see who currently is set up as a user on your listing and have the ability to add new users with different levels of permissions. You can do this from the desktop version, you simply go to business.google.com, or you can do it in the mobile app. There is a Google My Business mobile app. That's what I use primarily. Some things are easier on the desktop, but it's very convenient to do stuff on the mobile. And some of these features are mobile only that we'll get into later. So it's good to have both and be familiar with both. The different levels of access are primary owner. This should be the business owner. You should always be the primary owner on your listing. Owner, manager, and site manager are the other levels of permissions. Never let an agency of any kind be the primary owner. You can set them up as an owner or a manager or whatever else, depending on what they're doing and what kind of permissions they need. But you never want to let an agency own your listing. You want to have full control over that. So whether you're working with someone to do SEO or to do reviews or whatever it is, just set them up as a user. Don't make them primary owner, and don't ever give them the credentials to log in as you either. When you set up users, it's setting them up with their own credentials. That's what they'll be logging in with, not with yours. You can assign users to individual listings, or if you're something like coffee shops, or if you own multiple Taco Bells, you can set up location groups, and then you can assign them mass through the location groups if you want people on each location as well. So optimizing your basic business information. This is something that's good to take your time going through. This is the more accurate you can be, the better it is. Google's getting a little smarter in how they read information. It used to be that for name, address, phone number, regardless of the listing across the internet, whether it was on Google or Bing or an online directory or your website, you needed the business name, address, and phone number to appear exactly the same on all of those. They're getting a little smarter to where you can have some slight variation now, but still probably very good practice to do your best to have consistent name, address, and phone number everywhere. The primary category. So for .marketing, website design, or marketing company, those are kind of our primary companies that we would use. This is what will appear in the listing. This is what they will see as what your business is. You can certainly set additional categories, but the primary category is the one that they're going to see on your listing first. The additional categories just give them more information to additional services that you could be offering for them. While you can add additional categories and you can add, continue on through that, don't add categories that you can't fulfill. While it seems great to add as many and get as many leads, if you end up not being able to deliver a service to a customer, you're going to end up making them mad and losing business in the end. Address and service area. So if you're to be eligible for a Google My Business listing, you either need to have a physical address that customers can come to, or you need to be a service area business and go out and do business in the consumer's place. So there is people who have both. So I think of an electrician or a plumber. They may have a physical place you can come in and see a showroom or something like that, as well as they have techs out in the field. So you can certainly use both a physical address and a service area if it applies to your business. But you should have your business set up as one or the other. And if you do a service area business and you don't have a storefront that you maintain and customers can come to, you'll want to hide your address so that no one's showing up at your door. Business hours and special hours. This is, if people don't know when they can see you or call you or do business with you, it's going to be very hard for them. Google does a great job right now of sending out reminders. Are you going to be closed for Easter? Are you going to be closed for Christmas? Things like that. But certainly if you're closing early for an employee meeting, if you're whatever, putting those special hours in for the one-time occasion or the week you guys are different, those are great because when people are searching, they see the immediate feedback for what your hours are for the day that they're looking. Phone number, it displays one phone number, so you'll want to put your main business phone number in there. You do have the ability to put additional phone number in. So if you're using some kind of call metric line, things like that, you can also put that phone number out there as well on your Google My Business listing. Create a short name. So when you're in there updating your business information, it'll ask you to create a short name. This is very handy because once you create your short name, you'll also be able to utilize Google's short code, and you can click, send that link out and get people to drive traffic to your Google My Business listing. But there's also a different link, and there's, right when you log in, there'll be a click here to generate more reviews, and it'll give you a web address using your short name that you can send people to leave a review for you. So whether you're using it in an email or texting it or whatever, using that short name, it'll create a shorter web address that you can use to drive reviews to your Google My Business listing, and that'll end up being very important. We'll cover that a little further down here in the show. Business description, it only displays about 244 characters. So while a business description is great, don't get spammy, don't get wordy, just keep it to something simple. But this is just a description of who you are, what you do, things like that. With 244 characters, you can't go nuts. You can put more in there than that, but remember those first 244 is all anyone's going to see of what your business description is. And a website link, definitely don't want to forget that. The idea is to drive traffic to your website where they can learn more about what you do and stuff like that and contact you easily, whether through a contact form, phone call, whatever it is on your website. Photos and videos. So we are obviously living in a world where things are very visual. We all have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, some kind of social media app either pulled up on our desktop computers or obviously we see a ton of people using them on mobile phones and tablets and things like that. So we live in a visual world where images capture people's attention. What Google My Business does is they use a combination of photos supplied by the business. So you should be uploading your own photos, your own videos, and then the customers, your public, has the ability to also upload photos of your business. You can go in and delete any photos that you upload yourself. You cannot delete photos that the public uploads. If they are inappropriate, if they shouldn't be there, you can have them flagged. Google will review that, and if it does agree that it's violating of terms, they will delete that, but you can't just have it flagged because you don't want that photo there. Google is very lenient towards customer feedback. They go out of their way to search for customer feedback to improve their search results. And at times it'll make your job of maintaining your Google My Business listing a little bit harder. When you upload photos, you do not have the ability to control the order that they show. So you can't keep moving your favorite photo to the front. You also don't get to have control over how they get cropped when they're displayed. Google kind of does it. What they do is they'll ask customers, and perhaps you've seen this when you were out using Google and searching for different types of businesses. They'll ask if this photo, if you like this photo or this photo better, or they'll ask even details about the business. You know, do you know if XYZ business does auto detailing? And they're going to use that customer feedback to continue to refine your business listing and how you come up in search results, what photos they show, things like that. You're encouraged to not use stock photos or screenshots. They want actual photos uploaded of the business. They want genuine results, and don't superimpose images with text over the photos. While we all love a live, laugh, love over some happy customers in your store, they would rather just see the happy customers in your store. In order to post photos or videos to your listing, though, you have to verify your listing. You can't just have access to it. If it's not in a verified state, if you haven't gone through the act of getting that postcard or doing the phone call, you will not be allowed to upload photos and videos to your listing. Good images of your business and video of your business will encourage engagement. When we know what we can expect for quality of work, for food that we're ordering, for what the business looks like inside, what the employees look like even, that encourages engagement because now they have a certain level of trust, they know what to expect, and they feel more comfortable reaching out to you. Once you get in there and start adding photos, there will be categories for the inside of the business, outside of the business, street view, employees, things like that. And every business is a little different in which categories they have for uploading photos. But you want to add as many photos as you can for each category. You never know what's going to catch somebody's attention, so upload good quality photos, best you can do. Some of them are harder than others to fill, I know. The best image size is a standard 3:2 ratio, or 1800 by 1200 pixels at 72 DPI. This is really scaled down from what we take on our iPhone. So certainly if you're working with a photographer, if they come in to do some interior photos, staff photos, things like that, let them know what size of photos you need. They can probably help get those resized down properly. Otherwise, there's certainly other ways to get photos resized out there. We all use 1,000,001 apps or companies like Dot Marketing to manage their listings with them. When you upload your logo, so you don't want to have my beautiful face loaded in as a logo for Dot Marketing because no one's going to recognize me. They want to recognize the logo that's on the website, that's on the door. So uploading your logo is very important, and using your logo. We see on Facebook a lot of times a business will try and put a product out there or things like that. The best recommendation would be to put your logo where your logo belongs and brand your business, not a product that you might not carry in 30 days. But like Facebook does, the logo will appear as a circle. You can upload a square, but it's going to crop it down to a circle. So when you're uploading your logo, be aware of what's going to display in that circle for people when they see your listing online. You also have the ability to upload a cover photo. This banner, oops, right behind me here. This is very similar to what we have as our cover photo. The problem is, while we upload it, and this is what we suggest for Google to use, Google is Google and Google does what they want to do. And as they continue to ask consumers about photos in the business, they can swap out your cover photo at any time. So upload what you want, what you hope gets used as your cover photo. There's a solid chance it might, but just be aware that consumers are going to end up dictating what your cover photo on your listing is. And add video. Certainly a lot of people have a YouTube channel or are doing commercials with for TV and stuff. Add those videos out to your Google My Business listing. 30-second max at 720p or higher quality. So if you have any of the HD or the newer resolutions of videos, by all means, those are great. Just upload them, 30-second max. That's the biggest thing you got to be aware of. But it's just one more thing consumers can view before they call you or go to your website. Products and services. So this is where things get a little harder for some businesses. Services. So what do you offer? What do you do? Things like that. Different choices by industry for what Google allows you to put out there. And it's always changing. So who knows what'll be there next week or next month as they continue to learn more about businesses and what people are searching for. The services continue to change and get refined and more options are out there. Right now, adding more services, while it shows consumers what you do and what you offer, it does not affect your ranking in Google yet. And by ranking, I mean, when people search for pizza places, Rapid City, if they search on a desktop computer, they're gonna see a handful at the most listings, 3, 4, 5, in a map. That's where we're affecting that local listing. If I search on my phone through the Google Maps app or any of that stuff, those results that come up when I search for a pizza place, that's your Google My Business listing, and that's the ranking we're trying to affect with this. While it doesn't affect it today, I do expect that this will affect ranking down the road. When, who knows? Google will change like the wind, always a little different every day. But by all means, I would take advantage and start the habit of putting your services in there and making sure they're up to date. When you are in the Google Maps app, this is where services are seen. So it is very important because these are people who are seeing your business because you're the closest person to them. And if your service is in there, you have a better chance of converting that person into a phone call and a lead. They can be a competitive advantage. One, mainly because most businesses at this point, with it not affecting ranking and with not managing their listing very well, are not putting services in there. And it doesn't feel very complete to a consumer. And they have to take those extra steps to see what you offer by going to your website or somewhere else to learn more about your business when you aren't putting your services on your listing. So one, it's a good customer service tool, and the other, it can be a competitive advantage if your business has services and the next one doesn't. Products. So for businesses that have inventory of products, whether it's t-shirts and sweatshirts and whatever, or if it's cars, you can add the inventory of the items you carry to your Google My Business listing. Wow, this sounds great, and it offers one more place for consumers to shop you. It can be hard to manage and keep accurate. That prevents a lot of companies from utilizing the products. But if you have something that's in stock consistently, it might be a great option for you to get your products out there. Encourage, monitor, and respond to reviews. This is the part that's the hardest for businesses. One, between encouraging and asking for reviews, and two, responding to reviews. This is a very important Google My Business ranking factor. So getting reviews and replying to reviews is critical for your business. Convincing customers to engage. So today, many businesses that we talk to, that we have walked through our door, they walk in knowing they need to have reviews, but they don't have a game plan of how to get reviews. So whether it's, the best thing is probably to train your staff with some kind of script that they can follow to ask for reviews. Usually if we are asked by someone who we've done business with, there's a better chance we're gonna go out and leave that review. It kind of pulls on the old emotional heart a little bit. We wanna help this person who just did a great job for us, things like that. Other wonderful things are, you know, a link on a card, a thank you card, a business card. You know, the backside of a business card is a great place to take advantage of that. There's a lot of, you know, email marketing is great for asking customers on the follow-up to rate how their experience was with you. There's a lot of ways that you can engage those customers to leave you a review, but it's training your staff to be consistent and do that every single time with your customers, and doing it in a timely manner. You know, you can't wait every 3 months to send out mass emails and hope people come back and want to engage with you and review you when they're well past that reason they came in the store, that experience they already had with you. The average customer is going to read 10 reviews. So having 3 or 4 reviews is probably not going to do a lot of good for your business. It certainly comes down to a numbers game when we look at the overall rating. So the more good reviews you can generate, the better it's going to be, because we all know the rainy day comes and someone's just never going to be happy with you. No business, as hard as we all try, is perfect. And Google realizes this and knows this as well. So the optimal rating for a business falls between 4.0 and 4.8. When people see 5.0 and when Google sees 5.0, they believe things are a little bit fishy, and they're looking for something more realistic. They expect businesses to have a negative review at some point, or something that's not quite perfect. And they're rewarding for that slightly off perfect by not rewarding the 5.0 over a 4.8. So don't shy away from negative reviews. Certainly we don't want to encourage you to go find every negative person that didn't have a good experience, but when you get a negative review, you can't think of that as the end of the world and it needs to get off your listing. Just think about how you're going to reply and how you're going to utilize that reply to make it sound better and sell the next person and justify what happened or why it happened, things like that. As far as how many reviews your business should have, the best gauge is a comparable amount to your competition. And so every business, every industry is going to be a little different. And you can certainly see what your competition is doing. Don't feel like you have to stop because your competitors aren't getting reviews. But you should have about as many as your competitors have. This keeps a good balance. If you have 7 reviews and your competitors have 57 reviews, it looks like they're a much better business, much more engaging, and customers are going to them more. So Google's going to favor a business like that over yours when you only have 7 compared to their 57 reviews. We talked about not sending out quarterly review requests. Google also wants to see a consistent stream. So all reviews are dated. So they want to see that you had a review the last 7 days, the last month, things like that. They want to see that they're continuing to trickle in, that people are continuing to do business with you, and that you are an active choice for consumers. The best thing to do is to solicit, monitor, and then respond within 24 hours. This is the important part. The responding. We see a lot of businesses, and you can go out and search for yourself for businesses who are getting reviews, whether they solicit them or not. People are finding them to leave reviews, and then they're going unresponded to. You need to respond to reviews, whether they are good, bad, indifferent, within 24 hours. And the hardest thing is when you respond to a bad review, you need to take the emotion out of it and write it as a professional and polite review response. It's really hard for businesses to do this themselves. They take their work very personally. They're very prideful in their work. I totally get it, as I am the same way about my work. And that's where having a company like Dot Marketing to manage your reviews and respond for you works out better for some businesses, because we're not as attached to your work as you are. So it's easy for us to take that step back, to be a calm, cool, collective person and respond in a way that when someone goes in the next time to read reviews, they see a negative review, they see a response, it's done well, it's done professionally, and it puts you in a better light. When customers read a negative review, if it's the exception to the rule, we all know that you aren't getting 8 out of 10 bad reviews, but you get 1 or 2 here and there. Customers know and expect that. They expect something that's not perfect. And how you handle those bad ones is going to really show the reputation you have and what kind of person they're going to be dealing with. So responding is very important. Easy to respond to good ones. Take your time, even if you have to step away for a little bit, and do a very good and professional response with your negative ones. You're not able to use compensation. And the reason you are not able to have compensation, so offering a discount to leave you a review, things like that, is one, it violates Google's terms. And by violating Google's terms, they can go in and remove those listings. They may remove your listing altogether, or remove those reviews, but they may remove your listing altogether, depending on how much you violated their terms. And asking for compensation for reviews actually also violates the FTC law. So it could be very serious trouble for your business if you are offering compensation to get reviews. Had a chat come in here, as long as we're on reviews. Is it tacky to have a sign up at your office asking people to leave you a Google review? Rachel, that's a good question. So little clarity here. I'm going to take my best guess, but certainly correct me if I'm wrong. So when people leave you a Google review, they're going to have to sign into their Google account. You know, if they're standing at your counter, you just finished a checkout with them or whatever your engagement was with them, you know, through the mobile app, we'll show this here in a little bit when we get further in here on, but you are able to send them a text request, right? Or actually that's visual right here over on the right-hand side. This is the mobile app right here for you. And this is where, if you come in under reviews on your mobile app, there's this little 3-dot icon up in the corner. You can click this button and email or text a link to leave you a review directly out of your mobile app. So if you send this to customers while they're at your counter, I have nothing wrong with that. I don't think anyone would. You know, think about all the grocery stores or restaurants that, retail stores that have at the bottom of their receipt asking you for a review. Many of them are offering compensation, a free cheesy bread or something like that for leaving a review, right? Giving you feedback. That's why many of them have now started directing it to their website instead of to Google, to avoid violating terms and FTC law. But don't, you know, I maybe wouldn't have them leave the review standing at your counter. I think that puts a lot of pressure on somebody to leave a good review versus a truthful review. And at the end, we want to know exactly how our business is doing, because reviews are a chance for you to take that review, the feedback you're getting, and to modify the training or modify what's happening in your business or pinpoint a problem. Yeah, the sign at the desk asking for a review isn't going to do much. You know, I've seen some auto body repair shops that I've done business with who will leave kind of a thank you note on my car seat asking for me to go out and leave a review. You're going to get some people who do it. It will result probably in a couple, but the actual ask of, you know, an employee or you as the business owner asking customers to leave you a review is going to have a much higher conversion rate because they just did business with you. They have that trust factor right there. They're just finishing that. And if you thank them and ask them to do this as a favor for you, you're going to get a better conversion and probably a better rating also than when I leave your business and I realize something or someone said something else about you since, you know, before I got the chance to leave it. And now I start thinking and overthinking, and my opinion changes, even though I probably had a great experience with your business. If someone else starts putting something in my head and I start overthinking this, I could give you a worse review than you probably deserved. But yeah, the sign at the front of the door, probably not a high conversion tactic. The other thing is no review gating. We have seen a lot of companies going around and offering up a product where customers go out, they get asked, how was your experience with this business? You click the happy face, the sad face. If you click the happy face or rate them as a 10, you know, if they have a sliding scale, how was your experience? Give us a number. They had a number that they were pinpointing. Anything above this, we're going to send you to Google. You're going to get to leave your review. We're happy to have that review. If you left a sad face or a lower number, then what they did is either directed you to a form to fill out and leave your review, just basically an email that would go to somebody, or they direct you to talk to the manager and call this number or whatever. And they were trying to filter good reviews in versus negative. And you can use yourself as a filter. You know, you probably know someone that you probably did not excel at in the interaction you had with them. You might not want to be asking them for that review. They may find you anyway, but you might not want to solicit that review. But you can't use software like that to filter reviews and only drive good ones. And what we know now about Google's algorithm is they're not looking for all 5-star reviews. So having those negative reviews, while you don't want them all to be negative or a good number to be negative, having a couple of them isn't going to kill you. It actually helps you. So is it worth having third parties send follow-up emails to have customers leave reviews? Good question. Yeah, so we manage reviews for customers, and the best thing to do would be to have your email marketing with those people too, or if they do it as part of their service, and they can set up the email so it's coming from you. I don't want to get a review from some third-party company asking me how my experience was with a business, but if the email appeared to come from the business or the business owner asking how their experience was, I might be more likely to engage with that because I can tell, when we send out emails for .marketing, they're coming from our owner, Angela. It says it's coming from .marketing. It's a more trusted email. I know it's a true thing. There's so much phishing and spam in email that any third-party emails asking about a business seems a little odd to me, even though I may have done business with that business that's mentioned. Third-party companies just seem a little fishy to some people, and I'm guessing there's a pretty low conversion rate. I for sure am never going to click on that because I'm so scared to get a virus that way. Hopefully that answers your question, Brandon, and I kind of understood what you were intending there. So set up messaging Google Assistant. This is something that came out just a few months ago. And this is something that you can only do through the Google My Business mobile app. So it's very important for you and for anyone who would be responding to customers in the Google Assistant messaging that they have the permissions. Hopefully you set them up as a user with good permissions, but they also have the Google mobile app on their phone and they're logged into it. To set up messaging, all you're going to do is click on the Customers tab at the bottom when you get logged into your Google My Business mobile app, and then click on Messages tab up at the center at the top. You'll see a Turn on Messaging blue button. Click on this, and this will turn your messaging on. We also recommend going in and edit your automatic greeting. So for us at .marketing, our automatic greeting is, "Hi, how can certainly come up with something that seems kind of personal, like you maybe would have sent it to someone." And then the important thing is, just like reviews, to respond in 24 hours to these. When people are out and they are utilizing the mobile version, the app version of your Google My Business listing, they're going to have the ability to essentially text you or message you. It's going to appear as a text message going back and forth. Depending on the business, they can also request a quote through that way as well. So every industry is a little different, what buttons you're going to have available. But we've had several customers who have this on already and are using it and have either one, generated business, or two, just provided good customer service to a customer that was having a problem even after hours, and they are able to just message and help this customer and set up an appointment to follow up the next day. We have seen other customers who have turned it on, maybe aren't signed in, maybe have notifications off. So also when you set this up, make sure you have your notifications for the Google My Business app turned on. They can be the typical phone notifications like you do for text messages. You can get email notifications, whatever it is. There's a variety of notifications you can turn on. But you want to make sure that respond in 24 hours. If you're not doing it, if you're not responding within 24 hours, Google will shut off your messaging and turn that feature off for your business. If you don't intend to respond to people and engage with customers who are messaging you, it's best to leave this feature off. You're going to get no benefit from not responding to a customer. It'll just be a lost lead for you. There is also a feature called Google question and answer. This allows people to ask other people questions about your business. So they can ask what the quality of service is, or if you offer this, or things like that. And other people have the ability to go in and put their answers in. You can't opt out of this feature. Like many things on Google, Google does what they want to generate the best relevant result for what people are looking for. We mentioned earlier that they're asking people about photos about your business or services that you offer. Same thing here. They're looking for customer feedback, user experiences to generate the best question and answer they can for your business. You can't manage this out of the Google My Business dashboard. Hello, Jeannie. Yeah, the PowerPoint. I will I'll make this available on the .marketing website and email out a link to everybody to get this PowerPoint. So this information will definitely be available for you guys. I'll make sure of that. With this not being not available in the Google My Business dashboard, you're going to have to go out and do a little more work to manage this. You can turn on notifications. Notifications are important. So you do get notified when someone asks a question. You'll also get notified when someone does reply. But the best thing to do is to monitor these questions and then go respond as the business. You're not responding as a user. You don't want to do that. You want to respond as the business and put it in a professional tone, and you set the precedent for what your business does. And then the little trick is to have your friends go out and you can kind of like that, boost that, you know, if you're kind of familiar with Facebook liking things. And the more likes, the higher it's going to rank that up as a relevant response for that question. Another thing to do is to go out and pre-populate your FAQs and then go in and answer as the business. So if your employees have a Google account, or if some of your friends have a Google account, write the questions in a customer's voice. You know what you're going to ask. You can't write it as a business, and you definitely don't want to spam these FAQs. You want them to be true FAQs. So .marketing, we're not going to put, are you the best web designer in Rapid City? That's not helpful. You want to ask relevant questions that actual consumers would be asking, and then log in as your business, go in and answer those questions and start boosting or liking those answers that your business gives with your other user accounts. That's going to be the best way to pre-populate your FAQs and hopefully pre-answer some of the questions that someone might come in with about your business, your industry, your services, things like that. Google My Business posts. So think of this as Facebook posts. You know, many businesses are on Facebook or Instagram and are already putting posts about their services, things that are going on, their employees, events they're having, things like that. Google My Business offers the same kind of posts, maybe not as cool as Facebook's or Instagram's or some of those, but they are out there on your Google My Business listing. They do appear on your listing, and they're active for 7 days, and then they're archived. So even if you only post once a week, making that a good habit to post weekly, since you're probably already doing it on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere else, is a good practice. You can do a business update, you can add an event, you can do an offer if you're doing 20% off, 10% off your online store, whatever it is, and you can do product. Right now, there's also a COVID-19 update out there, and that COVID-19 update is so you can put updates to your business, things that are happening as hours and closures and things change, and that COVID-19 update is getting priority over any other post that's happening on your business. So if yesterday you put a post about we're still doing delivery, and today you're going to close the business temporarily, that COVID-19 post will take priority over whatever you just posted anywhere else, even if it was minutes before that. Google will also go in. They like to use their artificial intelligence to try and improve things, and sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. But they're going to try and create suggested posts for you from reviews and photos that customers are putting on your listing. If you aren't getting many customer submitted photos and reviews, they probably won't be suggesting much for you, but there is a chance, depending on your business type, that when you go in to do a post, they're going to start suggesting different posts for you. And Google's pretty good about emails. Right now they're not, but COVID-19's got everybody a little out of ordinary, but they send, you get to see an email or proof of how many people viewed your last post. So how many people were on your listing, saw your post, things like that. If you haven't posted in a while, they're good about sending emails that you haven't posted in a while, posts so that customers can see information. So Google does a good job to even help remind you to continue the good habits. And you can do these posts in both the mobile app and on desktop. So whether you have someone in your office or you're out and about taking a photo and want to post it, you have a lot of flexibility on where you can do these posts from, just like on Facebook. All right, so kind of alluded to some COVID-19 changes out there. It is, while we think of Google as this big bad company that probably never stops working like Amazon, a lot of their employees are also displaced right now working from home, and not all of them work in places where they have either internet access or high-speed internet access. So they're a little short-staffed. And then there's so much happening right now with the healthcare industry and changes daily and stuff, and they're having to respond and change their platform to make everything useful, that some of these things have been put on hold or changed from how we normally do business until this COVID-19 stuff passes us. One thing that's come out is you have the ability to mark your business as temporarily closed. So if, you know, in our area, we're fortunate that bars and restaurants and social gathering places, movie theaters are really all that we've seen closed. Some are still able to continue on and do delivery or carry out if you're a restaurant, but some are just temporarily closed. Some businesses, we've seen some retail stores, things like that, that have temporarily closed just to protect their employees and customers. You have the ability to go in there and mark yourself temporarily closed, so customers aren't continuing trying to call and getting no response, or trying to stop in and the doors are locked. You also have the ability to put in special hours or services. We mentioned this earlier when setting up your business information, that, you know, they'll kind of prompt you for holidays and things like that, that they know businesses may be changing, Christmas, things like that, Thanksgiving. But right now, a lot of businesses even have modified hours as they have reduced staff or just reduced demand, and they've changed their business hours or services. So you can go in, and if your hours are 9 to 12 and then 3 to 6, you know, you can set up special hours right now through this COVID-19 of what your business is doing. Can you, all right, Brandon, can you set by appointment only for certain days on my business? You can, I don't think you can. I think you have to set hours for a specific day, or everything is by appointment. I don't believe you can. I'd have to double check that. I'm sorry, Brandon. I can definitely double check and get back to you after this. Pretty easy question to think about. Most of our businesses that we work with have hours, or they're essentially open 24 hours with online stores and stuff. So let me get back to you on that one, Brandon. Right now, we mentioned that the services and things like that, they've added, which is a cool option. I hope they keep this once COVID's gone, but restaurants can notify consumers of delivery or takeout options. Before, you weren't able to do that. No one knew if you did delivery or takeout. But as we've seen dining areas have to close, they've created an opportunity for businesses to let you know if you can continue to do business with them and if they do delivery or takeout. We mentioned when we were talking about the Google My Business posts that there's a special COVID-19 post type. Use that as necessary to keep consumers updated about your business and what's changing. Always good to put information out there and maybe not flood their email all the time. Right now, reviews are only being queued. They are not appearing on listings. So customers can go out, they can still leave a review for your business, but Google is essentially not going to allow you to have your business sabotaged while people are away, taking care of their family, being safe. So both the question and answer section and reviews are both off right now. The assumption is, I guess, that the reviews will show up once everyone is safe and able to return to business. That is still kind of a mystery, but based on what we know, that's what's happening, is they're all being queued and will return at some safe point. And until Tuesday, the 7th of this month, you also were not able to do replies to past reviews. That is back on right now. Not quite sure why they turned it back on, other than to go in and catch up on some past reviews if you haven't already replied to those. Updates and verifications. So we talked about the process to getting your listing set up is that you're going to have to verify it. That is kind of delayed. How long? Don't know. Everything is kind of on its own timeline right now with Google as they're short-staffed. Same with updates. If you go into update information on your business, typically that update would be 3 days or less. There is no timeline really right now. It may still say 3 days, but Google is not really on a timeline, and they're going to put healthcare-related businesses as the priority. So if your concrete business is wanting to change hours or change their short name or something, business description, Google is going to take that review. They're going to sit on that review until someone actually has time, but it's not the priority for that business as they're short-staffed right now to review things. There's too much going on for Google with changing platform updates and the healthcare changes with everything with COVID, that a lot of things for general everyday business are on hold or delayed. Check and update your listing. So here is kind of a guide of some things that you should do and kind of a timeline of when you should be doing these things. Certainly every business is different. You're free to do what you want, but this is kind of what we would recommend. At DOT, this is what we do for our customers. On a daily basis, you want to respond to those instant messages, the messaging that's set up through your Google My Business app. As we said, you have 24 hours to respond to those, or Google will turn your messaging off anyway. Respond to reviews. You want to get your reply out there within 24 hours. And like we said, polite and professional, as the customer is going to get an email that you did reply to that review. So it's your chance to leave a warm fuzzy for someone or turn someone who had a bad experience around. Answer question and answers. Those are off right now, but normally when those are on, it's a good thing to make sure that there's no question and answers out there. If there are, responding as the business in a professional manner is important, and asking for reviews. That should be something that is a standard in your business for all of your employees. When you have an interaction with a customer, that you ask them to take the time to leave you a review of how you did, things like that. On a weekly basis, Google My Business posts, as we know, they're out there for 7 days and then they are archived. So doing this at least once a week is a good practice. Any suggested edits. So Google asking customers about services, about photos. If any customer makes a suggestion to Google about your business hours or your website or anything, if you don't respond to those suggested edits, Google's going to assume the customer knows more about your business than you do, or that you're not monitoring this, and they're, after a certain time period, going to go in and just make that change based on the customer feedback, and it may not be right. So it's important to go in and look at those suggested edits and answer those properly and get those resolved. And then I would recommend on a weekly basis looking at user submitted photos. Depending on the business, some get a lot more photos, and if they're photos that would violate the Google platform guidelines or anything like that seem inappropriate, you want to flag those immediately and have Google review to get those removed. Same with reviews. You can have those flagged if they are violating terms. You can't just have a review flagged because it was negative. They aren't going to take it off just because someone left you a bad review. It's part of business. But if they were malicious, threatening, things like that, flag those by all means, and those will likely get removed. On a monthly basis, you want to review information for updates. We talked about restaurants can now mark themselves for delivery and carryout. Every business category likely will have some kind of change in the information and services, things like that, that you can add to your Google My Business listing. It's important to go out and continue to look at those, look at options, make sure that the information that is out there about your business continues to be correct, and just find more ways to continue to push your business listing out there in front of customers searching. Add photos and videos. Seems like the hardest thing to do. What do we take a photo of? A lot of us have products. A lot of us are turning projects out. You've done something on construction. You've remodeled the room, whatever it is. Continue to post progress photos. Do your staff working. Let people see who you are and what you do. It's important. Look for duplicate listings and check for listing spam. These two are similar. Some of these lead generation companies are creating secondary listings or fake listings for businesses. It may not be your business, but if you go out and do a search for the main categories that you hope your business shows up in, and you see competitors out there that aren't legit, those listings are totally fake and you know it because you know your industry, you want to report those listings. Or if you see a duplicate listing for your business, sometimes it happens when you do business with a company, they create a secondary listing for you, not knowing you had one. They aren't looking very close. And it's not your main listing. You don't want people going to that listing. It confuses them. The hours may be wrong. You don't have ownership. You don't want your reviews going to the wrong listing because reviews do help your business perform. You want to either have that listing deleted, marked as closed, or merged with your main listing and marked as you want to mark it as a duplicate. And Google does provide adequate to good, depending on the time, support to help work through some of these things. And they have multiple channels that you can reach them through, including they have a Google My Business Facebook page and stuff. So, and I think Twitter as well. Suspension. So we've talked about Google My Business and the guidelines and things like that quite a bit. You can end up with your listing being suspended if you violate Google's guidelines. And sometimes it's even just an innocent change you made that flagged the algorithm and temporarily suspended you. The results, suspensions kind of filter into two main categories with Google. There's a soft and a hard suspension. A soft suspension is basically that the listing is going to remain, but you're not going to have control over changing things or editing things on your listing until you get that suspension resolved. And a hard suspension is they're going to completely remove your listing. So be careful what kind of violation you end up in and what you're doing. The main thing is if you're giving good quality information, just doing business as you do, telling people who you are, what they want to know about your business, and not creating spam, not creating fake information, you're probably going to be okay. And if you do end up in a suspension state, go figure out why you were there, correct it, and then you can submit for reinstatement and they'll get that corrected and everything's back to normal pretty easy. It's pretty harmless. All right. I know we've had a few questions throughout the process here. Is there any additional questions that I can answer for you at this time? Certainly feel free, that my email is on the screen as well as the phone number here for the DOT office. Certainly feel free to contact me or anyone in our office anytime if you have additional questions that come up. Brandon, I'll work on trying to figure this out here for you real quick and get an answer. If there's no questions, I appreciate everyone tuning in today. Continue to watch the Elevate Rapid City Facebook page as they will have more outstanding trainings coming up, covering a variety of topics for businesses. And if you want to, I know it was mentioned here in the chat, Elevate Rapid City does put all of these recordings of these webinars on their YouTube channel, the Elevate Rapid City YouTube channel. So this will, I see your email, Brandon, thanks. This will be on their YouTube channel shortly. They're doing a great job there. But I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you down the road at our next training. Oh, hang on. If you're using the Google My Business app on iPhone with dark mode, it's not updated for dark mode, so you'll need to, oh yeah, yep. We all love the dark mode on iPhone. Well, some of us do. It makes a lot of apps easier, I think, in my mind, to utilize. But Chuck makes a good point. Google hasn't gotten around to designing for dark mode. So there's certain things that don't display properly, you can't see. So switching off of dark mode, if you are going to use the mobile app, would be a good thing. All right, well, I appreciate everyone taking the time today, and hopefully we're all healthy and well and come out of this on the other side soon. Thanks again.